Okay everyone, welcome back to another video on the channel. Today we're going to be taking a quick look, a very brief look at the features and the update 1.41 content that has arrived today on Gran Turismo Sport. So in this update there is no new track, we're going to get that out straight away. There's no new track added, however there is some very useful and quite important update features that have been added in on this update. So to start off with, we'll have a little quick look at the basic content that has been added up. You can see there are 5 new cars. We'll take a look at them in the actual brand central in a moment, but not really car. There's one car that I'm particularly interested in. It's the Mazda touring car, roadster touring car. I quite want to drive that. I think that would make a great single make league. You can see we've also had the basic usual stuff that's always added in. Nothing too amazing, but we'll go through the information. You'll see we have the cars, the campaign mode, new stuff for the campaign mode, scapes, sport mode. Now this is interesting. Time trial has been added into sport mode. All it is basically 2 new events that you can take part in for 13 days. Not for me. I'm not a massive fan of just doing time trial, but I'm sure a lot of people will enjoy doing that. We've also had a new lobby feature, which we're going to take a look at in a moment. We now have the ability to set a proper qualifying, which is really important. Also, you have the ability to set a ghost offset within arcade mode, so you can adjust where the actual ghost starts, I think, on the track, and each sector it can reset, which is quite interesting. But the qualifying feature is really important. We're going to take a look at that because I think this could be an indication of an end in the future to fuel burning, because you can now set qualifying separate settings to race, which is really interesting. We're going to do some open lobbies hopefully later today using this new feature with maybe some of the new cars, and also with your normal group 3 cars for FIA manufacturer series. And we're going to have a mess around with settings and try and create what I believe would be a really good setting for FIAs. So check that out later. We're going to go through that in a live stream, but you can see other than that it's just fairly basic stuff. Basic improvements to maybe some of the livery stuff. A penalty reason message will now also be displayed when you get a penalty. Now this is going to be really interesting because I'm pretty sure that it's still going to give you a pretty false indication of why you've got a penalty, because when you get shunted off it's going to tell you why you got that penalty, and I think that's going to possibly annoy people as well, because it's going to be incorrect the majority of the time. But it'd be interesting. Maybe they've made some changes to the algorithm on the penalty system that may have made a change overall to the way the penalties are dished out. But let's have a little look at the new content. So the new cars, first up we've got the Jaguar D-Type. Now this car is, I'm not going to buy this. It's 15 million credits. Now I don't want to waste, I've got 20 million, I could have wasted, but I'll only buy that if at one stage we have to buy it for an FIA event. I'm not really going to waste 15 million on that vehicle. Next up, the Porsche. We're going to buy this, the Porsche 911 Turbo 1981 model. So quite an old car that I did expect to be in the game quite a long time ago, but finally it's in there. Again, I will be trying this out probably on live stream later, so make sure you buy this car if you want to be trying it out in the open lobby that we'll do. But it's not the car I'm most interested out of all the cars that have been added in this update. But I'm sure it'll provide some very entertaining racing. I'm sure a lot of people are quite glad that car has been added. So let's move on to Honda. We have 2 cars within Honda. First up, Civic Type R 1998 model. We're going to buy this again. Doesn't cost too much, so we'll just buy this car, get it out of the way. Might even do some open lobbies in this again later. Quite an iconic car, to be fair. One of the cars that were always on the old Gran Turismos. I'm sure a lot of people from the original games will remember driving this car. Next up we have the not a particular car that I'm too excited to drive, if I'm brutally honest, Honda S800 1966. Yeah, I'm sure some people might want to drive this, but not for me. I'm more interested in the Civic Type R, the Porsche, and the Mazda that we'll get to in a moment. So you can see there, we bought it because it was a fairly cheap car to buy, so got that out of the way. But now we have the Mazda. Now this car I think looks really entertaining. It's a little bit strange that it's in the N200 class of car. I think that car, maybe with racing hard tyres and boosting the power up to maybe N300, could be really interesting to drive. I think it would be a great single make series that we could maybe run in the odd night for a live stream or something, because I think it'll be a really entertaining car. The handling should be nice and grippy, and it shouldn't be too fast, so it should be fairly close, and a lot of close racing, battling and stuff, and that's the kind of racing we like to see. So we're going to buy that. 80,000, doesn't cost too much. not going to set you back that much. And we got it in yellow. I really like the look of it in yellow. So now let's take a look at this. You can see we now have the option to have practice, qualifying, race, or practice, qualifying and endurance race. Now this is really important because this is going to enable us to not be messing around in open lobby sessions like we used to. We're going to be able to just have the settings that we want and go straight into a race. So now this is really interesting. If we have a little look here, what we can now do, we can set this qualifying to different settings than what we're going to race with. So this could be important if they've added this feature in, if it's not been a feature that they've already had available. If it's a feature they've already had available and they've not been using it for FIA, I'd be questioning why they haven't been using it, because this is basically the perfect fix for fuel burning. We could have shorter qualifying. We could say a 5-minute qualifying, let the timer go over by 70 odd seconds, just basically so that you have time to do an out lap and 2 flying laps. Obviously you can change that depending on the length of the track that you're driving, but as long as it has the ability to do 2 flying laps, so qualifying would probably last about 7 minutes, 8 minutes, something like that, and maybe even less than that. Probably 6 minutes would be majority of the track. 6 to 7 minutes would be enough to get the 2 flying laps in. But we could have tyre wear set at ×1, so that you're going to get 2 laps in, maybe even have that set a little bit higher so that your tyres start wearing off a little bit on the second lap, but they've still got plenty of grip. But turn fuel consumption off, as you can see there in the options. We can have the ability to turn it off for qualifying. We can still have it on in the race settings, so off in qualifying, on in race. Now this instantly will fix the boring fuel burning that a lot of people complain about. I understand why people complain about it. It's not what we want to see in FIA racing, and it's gonna fix and improve the qualifying session in general, because you're not gonna have people getting in each other's way, fuel burning in the middle of the racing line, blocking people. The situation we have at the end of the laps when people are burning fuel and people are coming through for flying laps, it all gets messy. This would eliminate that. So I really hope this feature is something they've added in, that they've just sorted out, and it's not been a feature they've had available, because if this feature has been available to them for, since FIA has been started, then I'd be really questioning why that hasn't been added in, because it's a perfect fix, and I'm really glad they've added this feature in. It is literally going to fix so many issues. It's going to make our live streams a lot easier as well. Now we have a fixed amount of time to qualify, you have a race, and it's going to make the live streams a lot more enjoyable when we're doing open lobbies as well, and also for league racing. This opens up a lot more possibilities for league racing, something that I really want. I wouldn't mind getting involved with once the official season's over with FIA, because once the new season FIA starts, we don't have to put hardly any practice in, or we'll just basically jump on that day and go. So maybe we'll look at doing some league racing. We might even start our own little league up. I don't know yet. It does get quite complicated, but definitely one of the better features they've added into this game recently. The other feature I would like them to add, though, is the single make races. We need this feature added into lobby. So if anyone at Polyphony is listening right now, please just give us the option to have a single make race, so we don't have to have a situation in open lobbies where we're kicking people out, telling people what car to use. Just give us the ability so that we can have one make only races in online. I don't see why it's a problem. You have it available for custom races in single player. Bring that option into our public open lobbies, so we don't have to sit there telling people what car they have to go in. It's just set in the lobby settings. If you haven't got that car, you can't race, and you're instantly kicked out the lobby until you have the car, something like that. But yeah, this feature I'm really looking forward to trying out later on stream. We're going to go through a live stream later to test out this new qualifying feature. So if you want to take part in that, make sure you get yourselves the Porsche. I would say the Porsche, the Honda Civic, and the Mazda touring car, and we'll be doing some group 3 races as well, because we want to try out this new qualifying setting and also try and have a little play with some of the FIA possibilities for FIA in terms of qualifying and the settings within a race, because I think this will open up the opportunity to have slightly longer races in FIA, because if qualifying is only lasting 6 to 7 minutes, and straight away it gives us 5 more minutes basically in terms of having a race. So that's another 2 to 3 laps maybe, and then you still have plenty of time at the end, and we already have plenty of time at the end anyway. So we could have maybe races that are lasting between 25 and 30 minutes long, still having 2 laps to qualify. And I think this will fix so much issues within the game at the moment. We've been talking about it for a long time, about how we want longer races. We want races to be slightly more strategic. We're going to be able to have a little mess around with this later on, maybe starting the racing fuel at 50% and having a play around. So make sure you check that out. I'm going to leave you with the outro as usual. I hope you enjoyed this quick update with regards to the video. We're not going to try out the cars in this video. We're going to try them out live on stream. So yeah, it's just a quick update to let you know of these new features, and probably one of the most important features that has been added to the game in quite some time, in my personal opinion, the qualifying in public lobbies. It was needed. They've obviously listened to people saying about it, and they've brought it in. So let's hope they listen to other suggestions in terms of the single make as well. Anyway, thanks again for watching this video. Please leave a like if you enjoyed it, and please check out future videos. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit that notification so you don't miss any future videos. Thanks again for watching, everyone.